There are phrases that at first glance may seem harmless, even gentle, but behind those words can hide manipulative intentions, a lack of emotional accountability, and a dangerous resistance to personal growth. And when a woman overlooks these signs, she risks entering relationships that drain her energy, cloud her judgment, and disconnect her from her inner strength. Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychologist, spoke of the shadow unconscious, a deep layer of the psyche where we bury traits we deny in ourselves and often project onto others. In relationships, this is where toxic patterns quietly take root. That is why recognizing the words that reveal these behaviors early on is essential to prevent long-term damage. In this video, I will show you 5 phrases that, if you hear them from a man, should immediately raise red flags. Because this is not just about avoiding superficial conflict. It is about understanding that sometimes behind a normal-sounding conversation, there is a psychological game being played, one that could cost you your emotional peace and self-mastery. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And often we waste it on people who do not deserve it." So pay close attention, because each of these phrases carries a deeper and more dangerous path. Ignoring them can lead you into a draining relationship where you lose your focus, your self-worth, and most importantly, your connection to yourself. And believe me, no woman who respects herself, who has worked hard for her peace and discipline, should tolerate these dynamics. Stay with me until the end, because beyond helping you recognize these phrases, I will show you how to respond with strength, emotional intelligence, and without losing your center. Let us begin. You have to accept me as I am. At first, this may sound like a statement of honesty, even vulnerability, but be cautious. When a man uses this line to justify harmful behavior, it becomes one of the most common and dangerous red flags. Carl Jung taught us that self-knowledge is the beginning of all wisdom, but he also made it clear that true growth starts when we stop making excuses and begin integrating our shadow. When someone hides behind, "That is just how I am," to avoid change, you are not dealing with someone authentic. You are dealing with someone who refuses to evolve. This phrase usually appears after you have already noticed troubling behavior, emotional manipulation, avoidance of responsibility, or even passive-aggressive actions. And the worst part is that when you try to address it, he plays the victim or blames you for trying to change him. But here is the truth. Accepting someone does not mean tolerating the unacceptable. Real authenticity is not about staying the same. It is about having the courage to grow. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, said, "The perfection of character is to live each day as if it were your last, without laziness, without pretense." A conscious woman, one who is committed to her growth, should not carry the burden of a man who refuses to grow. Being in a relationship like that is like rowing a boat alone while he will not even step in. Accepting this phrase without questioning it condemns you to a future of repeated excuses, broken promises, and a dynamic where you do all the emotional labor. Remember, the Stoics believed that our environment shapes our development, and if the person you share your life with does not help you grow, they are only holding you back. So the next time you hear this phrase, do not be fooled by how deep it sounds. Ask yourself, is he truly willing to look inward, or is this just a polished excuse to avoid change? Because if his words hide constant resistance to growth, denial of responsibility, and a defensive attitude toward improvement, you are looking at a pattern that will only worsen over time. And this is where it becomes serious. Accepting that phrase is only the beginning. After that come other subtle but destructive behaviors. You will slowly find yourself trapped in a dynamic where you are the one adjusting, sacrificing, and creating space while he stays exactly the same. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is self-care. You are not here to save anyone. You are here to share your life with someone who also wants to grow, who recognizes their flaws and has the courage to work on them, just as you do every day. Someone unwilling to change does not just stall their own growth. They also limit yours. Stay true to your values and act with integrity, even when your emotions beg you to stay, because what comes next is even more delicate. All my exes were crazy, toxic. When a man says this, it may initially sound like he is simply venting about his past relationships. But do not be deceived. Behind those words lies a much darker pattern, a clear sign of victimhood, emotional immaturity, and projection. According to Stoic philosophy, real personal growth begins with honest self-examination. Epictetus made it clear that it is not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. So if a man always blames his exes for everything that went wrong and never reflects on his own role in the conflicts, chances are he is avoiding his own reflection. This is where deep psychology enters the picture. Carl Jung taught that what we do not make conscious ends up controlling us from the shadows. And often men who speak badly about all their exes are projecting their own unresolved flaws. This phrase reveals a dangerous mindset, that of the chronic victim. People who repeat this narrative rarely take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they recycle blame, dramatize the past, and unconsciously expect you to be the only one who will not disappoint them. But be warned, no one escapes their shadow unless they are willing to face it. The real question here is this: is it truly possible that all of his exes were toxic? Or could it be that there is a pattern he refuses to acknowledge? A conscious woman who knows her worth and has learned not to betray herself must ask this question seriously. Jung said, "What we deny submits us." And being with someone who does not recognize emotional responsibility is like building a house on sand. No matter how hard you try to create a healthy relationship, he will continue acting out the same unconscious script. And the worst part is that sooner or later, the story he tells about his exes will be told about you. Because someone who needs to play the victim will always find a new person to blame. Being in such a relationship is like rowing a boat with a leak. No matter how much love you pour into it, it will always be sinking. This is where emotional discipline becomes essential. Look beyond the words. Ask yourself, has he ever spoken honestly about what he did wrong in past relationships? Or is his story only about what was done to him? If he has never taken responsibility before, why would he start now? Remember, it is not your role to be anyone's therapist. You are not here to fix broken men who do not want to heal. You are here to share your journey with someone who walks beside you, not someone who pulls you into theirs. And speaking of emotional manipulation, there is one phrase you must recognize from the very beginning, because while it may sound like a declaration of love, it is actually a dangerous emotional trap. If you really loved me, you would do what I ask. This is one of the most subtle and damaging forms of emotional blackmail. At first glance, it may appear to be a heartfelt request, a way of expressing needs. But when you look closer, what lies beneath is manipulative pressure, using your sense of love as leverage for control. The Stoics believed that true love cannot be forced. It must be chosen freely. It should be built on respect, mutual admiration, and freedom, not guilt or coercion. Epictetus said, "No one can enslave you emotionally unless you allow it." And this phrase is designed precisely to turn affection into a weapon. Carl Jung also addressed this dynamic in terms of power. In his work on the shadow, he explained how unbalanced relationships often begin when one person projects insecurity and a need for control under the mask of love. Phrases like this are a clear example. When a man says this to you, he is drawing an invisible line that conditions your affection. He is essentially saying that only if you comply are you worthy of his love. That is not love. It is emotional manipulation disguised as devotion. An emotionally mature woman must have the clarity to distinguish between a healthy request and a hidden demand. Because surrendering to this kind of phrase can feel like love in the moment. Yet over time, you begin to lose pieces of yourself, your authenticity, your limits, your inner strength. And the most dangerous part is that the more you give, the more the expectations increase. At first, it's only a test of affection. Then it turns into a habit of emotional surrender. And eventually you're no longer sure whether you're acting from love or from fear of losing him. These kinds of phrases don't strengthen relationships. They slowly tear them apart. So if you ever notice yourself in a conversation where someone makes you feel guilty for setting boundaries, for protecting your time, your voice, or your way of thinking, stop. You're dealing with someone who mistakes love for ownership. You are not here to satisfy anyone at the expense of yourself. You are here to create a relationship where you can evolve, express yourself, and exist as you are without conditions. When a man says, "If you really loved me, you would do what I ask," he isn't just questioning your feelings. He's attacking your integrity. This phrase doesn't seek understanding or connection. It seeks dominance. It's a disguised attempt to override your will through guilt, erasing your personal boundaries to impose his own. Carl Jung said that genuine love is neither possessive nor manipulative. It is a conscious act of shared freedom, and Stoic philosophy supports this by teaching that healthy love is rooted not in submission, but in mutual respect. If love becomes a weapon for emotional blackmail, then it is no longer love. It is power hidden behind tenderness. Giving in to this form of emotional manipulation not only erodes your self-discipline, it leaves lasting scars on your self-esteem. A woman who has worked on herself, who knows her value, and who honors her inner truth must not betray what she knows is right simply to avoid conflict. Because every time you give in against your will, you drift further away from who you truly are. And the most dangerous part is that if you allow it once, the strategy will be used again. First, it's a small favor, then a larger demand, and one day, without realizing it, you're living according to someone else's desires instead of being the main character in your own life. The response, as any Stoic or follower of Jung's teachings would say, is simple yet strong. Stay grounded in yourself. Act according to your principles, not the temporary desires of someone who does not respect your boundaries. Because someone who truly loves you doesn't need to shame you into obedience. They listen, they try to understand, and even when they disagree, they respect you. It is far better to face an uncomfortable but honest conversation than to live day after day with the sense that you have lost your emotional freedom. You don't need to give endless explanations or justify your choices in the face of guilt disguised as love. A wise woman understands that not all battles deserve her energy, and those meant to break her spirit are not worth starting. And when it comes to emotional manipulation, there is a phrase even more destructive, subtle, yet cruel. "You are not enough for me." Hearing this from someone who claims to love you can be crushing. It is a phrase that doesn't merely hurt. It tries to dismantle your self-worth at its foundation. It's not just criticism. It's a direct attack on your identity, your value, your essence. Carl Jung explained that many people project their inner dissatisfaction onto others. This phrase is pure projection. When a man tells you that you're not enough, he isn't really speaking about you. He's revealing his own emptiness, distorted expectations, and constant need for control. He wants to make you feel small so you become dependent on his approval. Stoic philosophy reminds us that our true worth is not determined by the opinions of others, but by our character, our actions, and our inner alignment. Marcus Aurelius said it plainly: "Do not allow another man's soul to rule over yours." And that is exactly what this phrase attempts to do, rule you through insecurity. Someone who compares, diminishes, or implies that you are not enough is trying to make you strive harder, not out of love, but to earn validation. In that game, you will always lose because the standard keeps shifting. Today you are not enough for one reason, tomorrow for another, and eventually you are left drained, questioning things you once knew without doubt. A conscious woman does not beg for affection or feel compelled to prove her worth. You are not here to squeeze yourself into someone else's ever-changing expectations. You are here to share your life with someone who values you as you are and encourages your growth, not your self-doubt. So if you ever hear this phrase, pause, breathe, and remember who you are. Do not fall into the trap of believing you must be more for someone who fails to see everything you already are. That insecurity does not belong to you, it belongs to him. As Jung once said, you cannot make someone see your light if they are only searching for shadows. And as any Stoic would say, your peace is worth more than any attempt to fit into someone else's mold. External validation is temporary, unstable, and often self-serving. Real confidence is born when a woman learns to affirm herself, trust her intuition, and live according to her own values. There is no greater mistake than allowing someone, especially a man who uses your insecurities against you, to define your worth. When a man says you are not enough for him, he is not speaking truth. He is projecting his own emptiness, inflated ego, and desire for control. This phrase does not seek honesty. It seeks to place your mind and self-esteem under constant judgment, and that judgment will never be fair. Carl Jung explained that what we fail to make conscious eventually becomes our fate, and should you fail to identify such remarks promptly, you might end up confined in a dynamic where you are perpetually striving to demonstrate your value. Within that battle, you lose sight of your own identity. The Stoic thinkers equally instructed that no outside judgment holds sway over you unless you grant it authority. Marcus Aurelius expressed this with force. Never allow the spirit of another to command your own. If an individual is determined to make you feel insufficient, the most prudent response is not to remain and attempt to convince him otherwise. It is to depart with grace and without delay, not from arrogance, but from core self-regard. Emotional fortitude involves refusing to let hollow language demolish what you have diligently constructed, your assurance, your vision, your liberty. As Seneca observed, supreme strength lies in commanding oneself. That command commences the instant you resolve to decline emotional scraps presented as helpful critique. Upon hearing this phrase, pause, draw breath, stand firm, and recall the actual issue lies not within you. It resides in his requirement to feel dominant by diminishing your sense of worth. Walk away certain that your merit is not quantified by anyone's measures, most certainly not by one who fails to perceive your brilliance. We now approach the final phrase, potentially the most perilous of all. Do whatever you want, delivered with a passive-aggressive edge. When a man says this with sarcasm, chill, or bitterness, he is not truly offering you liberty. What he is executing is laying an emotional snare, aiming to make you feel culpable for your independent choices. He is not surrendering control, he is camouflaging manipulation as consent. Carl Jung addressed the concealed methods people use to manipulate from their shadow. This phrase is a prime illustration. He is not voicing his genuine feelings. He is not articulating his thoughts, yet he anticipates you will surmise them, and if you do not, then follows the guilt, the theatrics, or the blame. Stoic doctrine teaches that sound relationships are founded upon explicit and straightforward dialogue. Seneca captured it perfectly. Express yourself so your statements need no deciphering. When someone converses in puzzles with dual meanings, they are not communicating, they are manipulating emotionally. These kinds of expressions position you in a continuous state of doubt. You discover yourself attempting to decode, to appease, to evade adverse reactions until you understand you are living according to their feelings, not your own. Gradually, your mental tranquility begins to decay. A woman who has cultivated emotional awareness should never engage in that match. The optimal reply to a statement like, "Do whatever you want," is literal conduct. Therefore, proceed without dread, without superfluous justification, without entanglement in their emotional net. That solitary action shatters the cycle of control and compels the other person to either mature, speak plainly, or dwell alone in their passive-aggressive quiet because you are no longer accessible for emotional play. Both Carl Jung and the Stoics concur that existing with lucidity and genuineness is a route to authentic liberation, and that liberation starts the moment you cease reacting and begin deciding. Deciding your language, your limits, and who merits your attention. Answering with transparency or withdrawing from a dialogue infused with vagueness is not callous. It is emotional wisdom. It is a method to disrupt the manipulative pattern and establish a distinct boundary, stating you will not permit anyone to play with your feelings. The Stoic perspective on these circumstances is straightforward and potent. Do not endeavor to interpret what someone lacks the bravery to state openly. Ambiguity is an instrument of domination, and an aware woman, just like a Stoic man, will invariably select clarity, constancy, and internal freedom. Remain steadfast to your choices. Proceed with resolve, and always remember, a man who sincerely wishes to be with you does not need to manipulate you, speak in ciphers, or incite emotional disarray. Wholesome affection does not conceal itself behind maneuvers. It appears with openness. Inner peace is assembled when your mind, your speech, and your deeds are in accord. And as we have explored during this discussion, those phrases that may appear innocuous initially are frequently very distinct signals that, if not acknowledged early, can guide you into connections that exhaust your vitality, your concentration, and your fundamental spirit. Stoic philosophy and Carl Jung's profound psychology encourage us to peer beneath the words, to perceive the design, not merely the instance, to safeguard our emotional equilibrium with insight. For this is not about condemning others, it is about choosing to invest your energy in connections that nurture growth rather than deplete it. This discernment is the very heart of self-preservation. Every interaction is a subtle exchange, and you must be vigilant about what you are unconsciously agreeing to receive. When you hear these phrases, recognize them not as minor linguistic slips, but as signals of a deeper misalignment. They are echoes of a mindset that may not have room for your full, authentic presence. Your journey toward unshakable inner peace requires this level of attentive listening, not just to others, but to the quiet alarm within yourself that sounds when your dignity is being softly negotiated away. True empowerment flows from the consistent practice of aligning your actions with your core principles, regardless of another person's reaction. When you choose to walk away from a manipulative dynamic, or when you respond to ambiguity with calm clarity, you are doing more than ending a difficult conversation. You are actively programming your own nervous system for resilience. You are teaching yourself through repeated action that your safety and worth are not commodities for debate. This is the practical application of both Stoic ataraxia, freedom from disturbance, and Jungian individuation, the process of becoming the whole self-defined individual you are meant to be. Let this understanding be your compass. In the future, when a loaded phrase is uttered, you will feel not confusion or anxiety, but a profound sense of recognition. You will see the pattern, and in that moment of seeing, you reclaim your power to choose a different path. You can pause and, with the steadiness that comes from self-mastery, decide, do I engage, clarify, or disengage? There is no single right answer, only the right answer for you in that moment, chosen from a place of strength rather than fear. This is how you build a life that is not a series of reactions, but a conscious, purposeful creation. Remember, the goal is not to live a life without challenge or difficult people, but to develop the inner architecture that allows you to navigate those challenges without losing yourself. It is to cultivate a spirit that remains unbroken because it is rooted in self-knowledge. You become like a tree with deep roots. The winds may blow, attempting to shake your leaves with harsh words or emotional storms, but your core remains steadfast, grounded in the truth of who you are. Your value was never theirs to assign, and your peace is not theirs to disrupt. So, carry these lessons forward. Let them fortify your conversations, your relationships, and the quiet dialogue within your own mind. Practice the courage of clear communication, cherish the freedom found in healthy boundaries, and never ever accept a counterfeit version of love or respect when you deserve the authentic article. Your emotional well-being is the foundation for everything else in your life. Protect it with wisdom, defend it with grace, and nurture it with the fierce compassion you owe to yourself. This lifelong practice is a quiet revolution. It begins internally with a commitment to self-honesty and radiates outward into every choice you make. It means listening to that subtle tension in your body when a comment doesn't sit right, and honoring that signal as the profound intelligence it is. It involves valuing your own perception of a situation as much as, if not more than, the narrative being imposed upon you. This is how you cultivate an unshakable inner citadel, a concept the Stoics cherished, a fortress of the mind that remains calm and intact regardless of the chaos outside its walls. Understand that by establishing these boundaries, you are not building walls to keep people out, but rather you are defining the gate. You are making it clear who may enter your space and on what terms. This clarity is an act of kindness to yourself and to others, for it prevents the slow-building resentment that comes from unspoken compromises. It invites only those capable of meeting you with the same level of integrity and directness you offer. In doing so, you are not limiting your world, but intentionally curating an environment where your best self can thrive. The journey toward this self-mastery is iterative. There will be moments you falter, times you might engage in a dynamic you later recognize as draining. This is not failure, it is data. Each experience provides sharper clarity for the next. The goal is progress, not perfection. A gradual strengthening of your discernment muscle until your responses become as automatic as they are authentic. You are learning to become the calm, centered authority in your own life, the one who decides what holds weight and what is merely empty noise. This is the essence of true emotional freedom, the liberation that comes from disentangling your sense of worth from the approval or the manipulative tactics of others. It is choosing to derive your identity from your own actions, principles, and growth. When you achieve this, no phrase, no matter how cleverly veiled, can shake your foundation. You become like the deep ocean. Surface waves may be stirred by passing storms, but the depths remain undisturbed, powerful, and entirely your own. Carry this steadiness with you. Let it inform your silence as much as your speech. For in the end, the most powerful statement you will ever make is the life you choose to live, built consciously from the inside out. If this exploration of words, wisdom, and self-respect resonated with you, if it offered a new lens through which to view your interactions, then please like this video. Your support helps this channel grow and reach others on a similar path. And to continue this journey toward deeper understanding and unwavering inner strength, consider subscribing. Together, we can build a community dedicated to living with clarity, purpose, and profound self-worth. Thank you for listening.